Okay, so this video is a tutorial for how to complete part 2 of today's assignment, which is the actual activity that goes along with index fossils. So prior to part 2, you should have watched a video about index fossils. And index fossils are important for determining the ages of different rock layers and fossils found in those rock layers when we are looking at rock layers found at different locations around the world. So we're not just looking at one specific area, we're looking at layers from maybe North America and Australia and South America and trying to compare the ages. So that's where index fossils come into play. So for this activity, you will work with drawings of different rock layers from different locations. Each layer will have at least 2 fossils in it, and then you're going to use the fossils as clues to help you organize them from oldest to youngest. So for this portion of the assignment, you need 3 things. You need this, which is part assignment A. You need assignment B open, which is this assignment. It's just a Google slide. This is all of the rock layers. You'll see them on the outside, and the inside is where you're going to drag them in order. And then the third thing you're going to need eventually, maybe not immediately, but when you're answering the conclusion questions, is the index fossil key. And this tells you the names of each of the fossils pictured in the rock layers. So I'm going to just work through the directions here, starting with step 1. Which I kind of just talked about. So I'm going to move to step 2, which says the oldest rock layer is from the Cambrian period. 2 organisms in this layer will not be found in any other layer. No organism in this layer still exists today. Locate the layer that represents the Cambrian period and drag it into the box that says oldest fossil layer will go here. So I'm going to go to assignment B, and the directions told me that whichever layer is the oldest contains 2 fossils that aren't found in any of the other layers. So I need to just kind of process of elimination here, go through them and see which layer contains 2 fossils that are found only in that layer. I'm going to start down here. And I know they're kind of small to see, so if you need to enlarge them, you can either go to View and Zoom. That'll zoom in the screen. I kind of like it zoomed to fit the screen so that I can see more. Or you can just, for the time being, make it larger and then you can kind of see it better. So, looking down here, this first one, which is letter R, you can see a little R there, has this leaf and all these other ones. So I'm going to start with the leaf, and I'm just going to look through and see if I see a leaf in any other layers, which I do right here. Okay, so that one is found in other layers. Then we got a dinosaur fossil. I see it here. Okay, so that means that one is found in other layers. This leaf-looking thing, I see it there. So that one, this insect-looking thing is there, and then the shell is there. So all of the fossils in this first layer are found in other layers, which means that can't be our oldest. I'm going to move up. The next one is this guy. Little scorpion looking thing. I see it in this layer here, so that is found elsewhere. And the second fossil in this layer, I see it here, which means that can't be our oldest. Again, this fan, which was in this one, another dinosaur looking fossil, which I see here and here. So that one, the shell we've already accounted for, and that one we've already accounted for, so that can't be the oldest. Moving on. This funky thing, which was in this layer. Then this fossil, I don't think that I've seen that anywhere else. Nope, so that fossil is only found in this layer. And then the third fossil, also not seeing it in any of the other ones. So I think we found our oldest layer. So I'm going to drag this down, and if we look at our chart here, the youngest fossil layer will go here. Place the next fossil layer below. Oldest fossil layer goes here. So to layer your fossils, I'm going to put this one because we just determined that's the oldest, and then they'll go in order going up and then back to the bottom of the first column, and then going back up to the youngest fossil will go there. Okay, so we found our oldest. I'm going to go back to my directions. So 3 and 4 are going to help us figure out how to place the next rock layers in order. So it says, look for fossils that are found in only 2 layers. Using this information, pair up layers that must represent consecutive periods in the geologic record. Use other fossils to determine which layer in each pair is older, and then order all the layers from oldest to youngest. So now what I gotta do is find a layer that also contains some of these fossils, because I would assume that if they're located in this layer and then they're located in another layer, that's because they are just going in order in geologic time. We would continue to see the fossils show up in the fossil record as long as that organism was alive. So if it no longer is showing up, I would assume that the organism went extinct. Okay, so we already determined that these two, the last two in this first layer, were found nowhere else. So I need to find the layer that contains this first fossil. And I see it here. And then I'm going to look to see if I see it anywhere else, which I don't, which automatically means that this has to be our next layer. So I'm going to place it there. Okay, then I need to find layers. Since this one no longer exists in any other layer, that means it went extinct. And now I need to find rock layers that contain this fossil. Now, at this point, I'm going to end the video. Feel free to continue going on at your own speed if you feel like you get the hang of it. You should be able to place all of the other layers in order using this method. If you still feel uncomfortable, I will be creating a second video to help those of you who may need some extra support in figuring out the order of the rock layers.